My mom confronted the shocking truth about me at midnight, devastating secrets revealed. The clock struck midnight, echoing through the silent house like a death knell. Shadows flickered against the walls, twisting into grotesque shapes, as if the darkness itself had come alive. In that hushed room, an unspoken tension hung heavy in the air, a feeling like dread clawing at the back of your throat. This was the moment everything would change. She sat up in bed, heart pounding, ears straining to catch any sound that would signal her mom's approach. She could feel it, something was off. The truth snaked around her like a serpent. Had she left the drawer open? Or was it the way a guilt-soaked secret hung around her neck, each breath tightening like a noose? She remembered the whispers at school, how her friends had looked at her just a little too long, eyes wide with question. It was like they knew what she hadn't yet confessed. The truth ripped at her insides, raw and achingly real. Footsteps echoed on the hardwood, each step a thunderclap against the stillness. Would it be the familiar gentle knock or the furious pounding of confrontation? Her stomach twisted, mirroring the jumble of emotions inside her. Would her mom finally uncover the carefully hidden truth? Or would this festering secret remain buried, at least for one more night? Just as a soft knock broke the silence, her heart raced. Anxiety danced in her chest like a wild deer caught in headlights. "Mom," she whispered, voice trembling. Moments ticked by, heavy and torturous. Finally, the door opened. Her mother's silhouette filled the doorway, framed by the weak light spilling from the hallway. "We need to talk," she said, each word heavy with portent. "Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. In that moment, a chill raced down her spine. The way her mom stood, arms crossed, fists clenched, revealed everything: anger, confusion, fear. What was she going to say? What had she found out? The oppressive silence burst as her mom's voice trembled. "I know what you've been hiding." Those words sliced through the air, sharper than any knife. Terror trapped her breath, a lump forming in her throat. Her mom continued, "You can't keep running from it." The world around her blurred momentarily, as if the lights had dimmed and shadows thickened. What could her mom possibly know? Fear turned her blood to ice, and beneath the surface, chaos roared, demanding to know the truth. She felt like a deer caught in a trap, heart racing, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Looming questions hung in the air, fragile as glass. What had been discovered? What would happen if the truth came to light? The air crackled with a tension that felt almost tangible, a string pulled taut, ready to snap. Her mother's gaze was piercing, searching for something in her daughter's eyes: answers, remorse, maybe even a flicker of truth. For an agonizing moment, the world outside ceased to exist. The shadows danced on the walls, mocking the reality unfolding in front of them. "What do you know?" she managed to whisper, barely meeting her mother's gaze. A drop of sweat trickled down her back, chilling her skin. This was her moment of reckoning, the moment she dreaded and prepared for in equal measure. "I found the diary," her mother said, her voice quaking with controlled rage. "The one you thought I never look at. The one filled with your lies." The revelation hit like a slap. The diary. Her carefully curated secrets penned in ink, each word a slice of her soul. Her heart raced, pounding against her ribcage as if trying to escape. "It's not what you think," she cried, desperation lacing her tone as she fought against the rising tide of panic. "Then tell me," her mother shot back, each word dripping disbelief. "Is it the friends you talk about, or the feelings you thought you could keep hidden? What's really going on in that twisted little mind of yours?" Suddenly, the walls felt closer, the air thicker. She forced herself to breathe, to think. "I was scared of being judged. I thought if I wrote it down, no one would know," she confessed, her hands shaking. "It was just a way to deal with everything. I swear, it's not who I am. Her mother stepped closer, the light from the hallway illuminating her anguish. But it is who you are. You write these thoughts as if they're a game. You want a life stacked with secrets and lies. Tears pricked at her eyes, blurring her vision. You don't understand. I was trying to find my way. I needed to express how I felt. Panic clawed its way up her throat. Would this be the end of everything? Was this the moment she was ruined? Her mother's brow furrowed deeply, conflicted. Help me understand, then, she urged, her voice softening a fraction. What did you mean by all those things you wrote? What exactly are you hiding? The truth swelled, threatening to overflow. She felt exposed, raw, like a wound that had festered too long. I just wanted to feel like I belonged, she stammered. Nobody understands. Before she could finish, her mom interrupted, the gravity of the situation returning with full force. And the darker things, the things that make me question our whole life? Fear gripped her heart, an iron fist tightening. You don't want to know, she said, her voice barely a whisper. But deep down, she recognized that the truth was a bomb waiting to explode. As her mother's eyes widened, the door creaked suddenly, as if to let a breath of reality in. A breeze whispered through the crack, chilling them both. Please, tell me, her mother pressed, words laced with urgency. Or I will have to dig even deeper, and who knows what I might uncover. The weight of silence pressed heavy again. A choice loomed over her like a guillotine: speak or remain silent. When she opened her mouth to reply, the ground felt as if it might give way. But before she could utter a single word, the lights flickered violently. A loud crash echoed from downstairs, sending both women spinning around, their eyes wide in unison. What was that? With hearts pounding, they locked gazes, knowing that whatever truths lay between them would have to wait. Something more sinister lurked in the shadows. The moment had come. Truths, both spoken and hidden, were about to collide with a new, shocking reality. What had interrupted their confrontation? They both wondered, but nobody was prepared for what awaited them just down the hall. The heavy silence that followed the crash hung ominously, pressing down on them like a weight they couldn't escape. Cold fear washed over her as she exchanged frantic looks with her mother, whose face had drained of color. What was that? Her mother whispered, voice shaky and filled with dread. I don't know, she stammered, feeling helpless. The confrontation about her secrets faded into the background, overshadowed by the sudden, unknown danger lurking just beyond the door. Another crash rumbled through the house, sharper this time, and it jolted them into action. Stay here, her mother commanded, but as she took a step toward the stairs, a surge of instinct kicked in. No. I can't just stand here. She darted forward, cutting off her mother's path. We need to go check. Are you out of your mind? Her mother hissed, irritation mixing with fear as she grabbed her daughter's arm. We don't even know what that noise was. Neither do we know if we'll be safe here. We can't just wait for it to come to us. The tension hung between them, a chasm of disagreement that felt almost childish compared to the adult horrors they might face. Each second stretched endlessly as they stood in a frozen standoff, recollections of distant childhood fights and whispered secrets buried deep in the past. But there was no time for softness now. The urgency clawed at her throat, demanding action. Sensing the weight of truth yet again, her mother's expression shifted to one of reluctant understanding. Finally, she released her grip. All right. Together, she said, eyes wide with an unspoken resolve. They moved cautiously down the hall, shoes soft against the hardwood floor, each creak echoing like thunder. The shadows loomed around them, swirling as if alive, teasing with the unknown, amplifying the fear gnawing at their insides. Heartbeats synchronizing to a heavy rhythm, they approached the stairs, straining to hear anything beyond the chaos. The ambient noise quieted suddenly, plunging them into an eerie silence. She felt her mother stiffen beside her, the air around them thick and electric. Listen, her mother held her breath, pressing a finger to her lips. They strained to hear. A muffled voice drifted up from downstairs, low and indistinct but unmistakably human. Did you hear that? She gasped, clutching her mother's arm. "There's someone in our house." Her mother shook her head, eyes wide. "It could be a stray animal or no. It's too coherent. Someone's down there." Panic flooded her chest as a fresh wave of dread crashed over her. "Okay," her mother finally said, her voice cool despite the quiver within. "We need to go back to the room and call 911. Now." But as they turned to retreat, another crash echoed through the house, louder, more aggressive. Something shattered, glass splintered across the floor below. They exchanged terrified glances, the uncertainty of the night thickening the air between them. "Now," her mother urged, grabbing her hand. In that moment of urgency, adrenaline fueled her feet. They raced back down the hall, but with every step, a gut-wrenching thought clawed at her brain. What if the danger wasn't just downstairs? What if it was closer? As they reached the bedroom, the lights flickered again, plunging them into darkness. A stifling weight suffocated the room. The outside world bled into their sanctuary with an unwelcome chill. She couldn't shake the gnawing feeling they were being watched, and not just by each other. "Mom," she breathed, her voice shaking. What if? But before she could finish, the door slammed shut behind them, a loud bang that reverberated in their chests. They spun around, hearts racing, and took a step back as the shadows seemed to gather closer, ready to swallow them whole. "What's going on?" her mother whispered, terror painting her features. They stood there, breaths held, both sensing they were not alone. And all at once, reality hit. Whatever it was that lurked in their home might expose far more than the secrets hidden within the diary. As fear tightened around them, one question echoed loud in her mind: had their confrontation been interrupted by mere fate, or was it orchestrated by something far more sinister? And whatever lurked in the dark, it was not just a stranger in their house. It was a force that would peel back layers of their lives, turning everything they knew upside down. Her heart thundered in her chest as the shadows coiled around them, each flicker of light hinting at something sinister lurking just out of sight. The door had shut with a finality that sent shivers down her spine. She and her mother were prisoners in their own room, the walls growing closer with every breath. "Mom," she whispered again, her voice barely escaping. "We need to find a way out." As if in response, a chilling laugh echoed from the hallway, a sound so foreign it felt like ice clawing at her skin. It twisted in her stomach, deepening the pit of dread. "Do you think they can hear us?" she asked, glancing toward the door as if it could answer. Her mother's face was pale, but the defiance flickered in her eyes. "We stay quiet, stay calm," but her voice lacked assurance. Just beyond their sanctuary, reality felt perilously close, like a predator waiting for its prey. They pressed their ears to the door, straining to catch any sound from the hallway. Another crash reverberated, a crash that sparked panic anew. "Mom!" she exclaimed, stepping back. "We can't just wait. Something is wrong. We have to do something." "Then let us move the dresser. Block the door," her mother suggested, eyes darting toward the furniture piled against the other side of the room. They hurried to the dresser, and together they pushed it with all their strength. It scraped against the hardwood, resistance only fueling their urgency. As they wedged it against the door, the once open space felt ominously sealed, an unwilling barrier against the chaos beyond. With strained breaths, they stepped back, adrenaline-fueled fear flooding through them. What if whatever is happening? She swallowed hard. What if it finds us? "It won't," her mother said, though her own voice quivered. "We're safe here. We just need to wait it out." But even as she spoke, the jagged edges of fear were creeping back into her expression. A deep bang louder than the previous noises erupted from the other side, rattling the door, and they both screamed, hands grasping at each other instinctively. "Mom!" What if she couldn't finish? "No." Her mother shook her head harshly. "We can't let whatever that is into our heads. Focus. Think of a way out." Just then, the lights flickered again, this time casting erratic shadows that danced wildly on the walls. In that moment, a whisper barely grazed their ears, too soft to understand but sharp enough to cut through the silence. It hovered, sending chills down her spine, scratching at her consciousness. What was that? She breathed. I don't know, her mother muttered. Listen, we have to check the window. Maybe before she could finish, the door let out a strained creak, and the wood groaned ominously. They both froze, pulses racing, minds racing faster. Their sanctuary felt more like a coffin now, a constriction of space that whispered of dread and foreboding. We can't let it in. She shouted, fear spilling over into a surge of adrenaline. But as they turned to the window, the glass rattled as though a powerful wind had swept through. Shadows coalesced into figures beyond the glass, a parade of dark shapes lurking in the yard, each one cloaked in mystery and menace. What is going on? She exclaimed, clutching her mother's hand tighter, her skin pale and clammy. We have to look. Her mother's voice rose above the chaos outside, but doubt speared through her. What would they find waiting for them? They drifted toward the window, hearts pounding in sync, fears bubbling to the surface, knocking against the fragile walls of denial. With every step closer, she could feel a yawning chasm of dread threatening to engulf them both, thoughts piercing her mind. How close was the danger? As they peered out, the world outside spun into clarity. The moonlight painted the eerie figures, shadows whispering of something unnatural. Both of them gasped, fear piercing deeper than before. Look at them, her mother breathed, eyes wide, horror mixing with disbelief. Whatever waited beyond their fragile bubble seemed to pulse with anticipation, a truth lurking, ready to pounce when least expected. And in that moment, the question hung heavily in the air: who were they? What awaited them on the other side of the glass? And were the secrets hidden in her diary linked to the terrifying reality unfolding before them? The figures shifted, and all at once, she knew the night was far from over. Each figure outside loomed larger, more defined against the moonlit backdrop. She squinted, trying to make sense of the ugly truth unfolding before her. What are they? She muttered, her voice trembling. Her mother was already backing away, terror darkening her features, the defiance snuffed out. We need to stay away from that window, she said urgently. But even as she stepped back, her eyes remained glued to the chaos outside, as if it had some magnetic pull. Suddenly, one figure broke from the others, moving closer, a silhouette that trickled into the light. Her breath hitched. It was a woman. But not just any woman. This one wore a long dark coat, her face obscured, yet there was something familiar about her stance, the way her head slightly tilted as if searching for something lost. Do you see her? She whispered, her voice barely a breath. Mom, that looks like. Don't say it. Her mother's palm shot up, cutting her off. It can't be. You're imagining things. Yet, the woman continued toward the house, moving with an unsettling calmness. The air thickened with dread as the figure grew closer, and the shadows around her seemed to pulse, alive and writhing. Mom, it's like they're waiting, like they know something we don't. What if she should? Her mother hissed, panic radiating from her. Listen. A low growl rolled through the air, like a feral beast picking up on their fear. They both recoiled instinctively, pressing against the cold wall behind them as if it could swallow them whole. What now? She asked, her heart a wild drum in her chest. Can we try to get out through the back door? Her mother's voice trembled, head darting toward the small hallway leading away from the room. I don't want to stay here. But before they could move, the unsettling sound of nails scraping against metal echoed from the outside, scraping and rattling. A chill shot down her spine, and she felt sick. She's coming. Her mother whispered, grabbing her arm with desperate urgency. They both flinched as another loud bang reverberated from the front door. What was this creature doing to their home? What if she's here for us? Her eyes darted around, the walls ticking like a clock counting down to a horrible revelation. Bodies shifted outside, thrumming in unison, as if responding to an unseen conductor. And right then, her breath caught. She's carrying something, she said, doubt in her voice as squinting against the dark, trying to pierce the veil of obscurity. What is it? Her mother leaned in closer, eyes widening, but a flicker of recognition washed over her, then it transformed to horror. No, it can't be, not again. Mom, she pressed urgently, what is that? Do you know her? In an instant, the woman outside raised her arms, revealing a glint of silver, an object reflecting moonlight. Her heart sank. It was a knife. Mom, the word slipped out, laden with fear. What is happening? Nothing good, her mother replied, fear lacing her voice. That woman, she's linked to my past, something I thought I buried. The shadows flickered, taking shape. The figures started to merge, tightening their circle around the house, enveloping it in a darkness that whispered of danger. Mom, we can't just stay here. Panic threatened to spill over, but before they could decide, a voice rang out from the darkness, smooth yet ominous. Hello, dear daughter, it's time to face your legacy. Chills danced along her skin as she turned wide eyes towards her mother, desperate for answers. But her mother merely shook her head, the color draining from her face. What legacy? What are they talking about? There was a tremor in her voice, anger bubbling to the surface as fear rode high. She couldn't understand. Some things are best left forgotten. Her mother's whisper was barely audible, edged with despair. With realization dawning, she stepped closer to the window, drawn to the figures outside. But I have to know. She cried. If we're going to survive this, no. Her mother shouted, but it was too late. The wall of shadows shifted, and the woman's laughter danced on the wind, a chorus of madness that echoed through the night. Open the door, dear. The truth can set you free. As darkness closed in, she took a breath, steadying herself against the tremors of terror. What lay beyond the door? And was her mother hiding more than just a past? In that heartbeat of madness, the night held its breath, waiting for her choice. The woman was drawing closer, the shadows deepening, a nightmarish reality on the brink of revelation. Did they have the strength to confront what was coming? Would the truth be their salvation or their doom? They couldn't tell yet, but the night's secrets longed to spill over, waiting just on the other side. The moment stretched, an unbearable silence thick with unspoken fear. She felt the pulse of her heart beating like a drum in the dark. Shadows twisted outside the window as if the very night was alive, hungry for what was to come. Mom, what is going on? Panic clawed at her throat, choking her with uncertainty. The figures outside were a moving wall of dread, and each second felt like an eternity stretching out of time. Trust me, we can't let her in, her mother said, the fear twisting her features. But doubt filled her mind. Could they really escape whatever this was? The whispers grew louder outside, voices blending into a terrifying chant. Open the door. The woman called again, her voice smooth as silk but laced with a venomous edge. You know you want to. What does she want? She whispered, every word hitching a ride on her mother's rising fear. Don't listen. Whatever she says, it's a trap. Her mother's voice quivered as they both stepped back, the walls looming larger, closing in, but the figure outside was now in full view, her face still hidden. There was something eerily familiar about her stance. It was almost like she was inviting them to dance with madness. Every instinct screamed to flee, yet the pull of her curiosity tightened around her stomach. As if sensing her conflict, the woman reached up to her face and slowly pulled back the hood of her coat. The moon shone brighter, illuminating features that sent ice through her veins. It was as if they were staring into a mirror, the same nose, the same haunting, dark eyes, yet everything was off, twisted. This was not just a ghost from her mother's past, this was a reflection of something deeper, something she didn't understand. Mom! She gasped, her breath escaping her like a fragile bird. What is stay away? Her mother screamed, pushing her back as the chilling laughter of the older woman echoed through the night. You have no idea what you're dealing with. Open the door. The woman beckoned, her voice dripping with an unsettling urgency. Let her learn the truth. She has the right to know. Know what? She cried, confusion and fear swirling in her mind like a violent storm. What truth? Everything, my love. Her mother's voice was steadier now, but the raw edge of emotion broke through. Things you could never. Suddenly, the crowd outside surged forward, the mass moving closer with unsettling synchronicity, as if they were linked by something dark and primordial. Distorted faces flashed in the moonlight, eyes wide with anticipation. They were expectant, eagerly waiting for one word, a command or perhaps an invitation. "Step away from the window," her mother hissed, inching closer, wrapping her arms around her as if to shield her from the chaos outside. The noise escalated, the sound of flesh against metal rang out, nails scratching furiously, desperate to break through. "Are they here to hurt us?" she whispered, terror bubbling up from the pit of her stomach. She could feel her mother's grip tightening, shaking in both fear and resolve. "They're not here for me," her mother's voice cracked, a hint of despair spilling forth. "They want you, dear. You're the one they're calling." Just then, the figure outside reached for the door, gripping the knob with a slow, deliberate motion. A sickening dread poured through her. "No!" she screamed, scrambling back. "Don't let her in." But before she could react, the door, once a sturdy barrier, shuddered, creaking under the pressure of the woman's insistence. It was as if an unseen force was stripping away their last line of defense, revealing secrets meant to be buried. "We're out of time," her mother yelled, eyes frantic. "We have to decide now. Fight or reveal." With adrenaline surging through her veins, she took a step forward. "I won't let you take me like this," she shouted, her voice trembling but fierce. The woman paused, tilting her head slightly. "It's not a choice, dear. It's your destiny." And just like that, the shadows slithered closer, ready to swallow them whole. As the door groaned ominously, she readied herself for the oncoming confrontation. Fear coiling tightly in her throat. Would she accept the truth, whatever it might be, or resist it and risk losing everything? "Mom," she whispered, a determined spark igniting in her. "No matter what happens, I'll face it with you." But just as she found her courage, the door burst open, and the woman stepped inside, a chilling grin transforming her face. "Welcome home," she said, her voice a chilling embrace. "Now, let us unlock the past." As the shadows closed in, the truth loomed larger than life, and just outside the door, the night waited, hungry for the reveal. The moment the door swung wide, dread washed over her like ice water, and every instinct screamed for flight. The woman entered, her presence filling the small room with a weight that seemed to press against her chest. "Such a beautiful reunion," the woman purred, looking between mother and daughter. "I've watched you both for so long. You have no idea how special you are together at last." Her mother's face crumpled, anguish radiating from every pore. "Get out. You're not welcome here." The woman chuckled, a sound laced with malice. "But I am family. I've come to take what's rightfully mine, and yours. What do you want from us?" Her voice trembled but held a hint of defiance. This was not just an intruder, it was a threat wrapped in familiarity. It felt like facing a tangle of memories she never wanted to unravel. The woman stepped closer, her eyes glinting with a predatory hunger. "I want the truth to be unleashed. The truth that binds us, blood, secrets, and power." Shock coursed through her veins, but a flicker of anger ignited. "You think you can just walk in here and demand anything? You're nothing but a stranger." "Am I?" The woman leaned forward, and she caught a glimpse of a smile that sent shivers down her spine, revealing deceptively sharp teeth. "You will learn that truth is often buried, waiting to be found, and I'm the key." Her mother grasped her arm, pulling her toward the back of the room. "Don't listen. She's dangerous." The crowd outside intensified their rhythmic pounding, a reminder of the reality pressing in. It felt like a heartbeat, thumping wildly in sync with her racing thoughts. "They wouldn't stay out there forever. Tell her the truth, dear." The woman called, her voice a silken whisper, curling around them like smoke. "What has your mother kept from you?" I don't know what you're talking about," she gasped, backing away from both her mother and this horrifying doppelganger. Suddenly, the shadows noticed her hesitation. They fluttered and writhed, reaching for her like curious hands. She felt her heart drop. If she gave in to this urge to know, to understand, would it destroy her? Mom, please. Just tell me. What is it? She could see her mother's turmoil, battling against the truth that had been locked away, secrets that were meant to shield her, perhaps, but also chained her to this nightmare. Your father, her mother murmured, voice trembling. He wasn't who you think he was. Not by a long shot. The words hung heavy in the air, and the crowd outside reacted in unison, a swell of dark energy creeping closer, urging her to inquire further. What do you mean? She pressed, feeling the very foundation of her life begin to shake. The woman's eyes sparkled with delight. Think of it like a puzzle, my dear. Every piece reveals a bit of your legacy. Your father's past is entwined with mine, a darker lineage than you can fathom. No. This can't be real. She shouted, desperate to drown out the truth echoing in her ears. She felt like she was being unraveled, strand by strand. You have a choice, sweet girl, the woman said, gesturing theatrically. Embrace it and come with me into the shadows, or resist and remain a pawn in this dreadful game. Choose wisely. Her mother shouted, trembling massively. You cannot. Before she could hear the end of her mother's warning, the ground beneath them began to tremble like an earthquake. The crowds pressed against the house, their whispers morphing into a crescendo, fueling the darkness that enveloped them. What's happening? She cried, panic gripping her. You're awakening something that can't be ignored any longer. The woman smiled, her face melting into cruel joy. The past is waking up, and it's your time to decide if you'll fight it or join it. The shadows withdrew slightly, like ominous waves receding from the shore, yet the weight of the woman's words lingered heavily. As panic churned within her, she held her mother's gaze, searching for answers. But all she found was fear and a desperate plea for understanding. Trust me, her mother whispered, voice trembling with urgency. Whatever she says, don't let it pull you in. But as the door shuddered under the weight of the unseen, she couldn't shake the feeling that what lay behind it was the key to everything. Which would break first, the truth or her resolve? She felt darkness whispering promises, and with one tremulous decision, everything in her world could change. The tremor in the ground intensified, rattling the window panes. She clenched her fists, desperate for stability. Each shudder sent ripples of unease coursing through her. The shadows seemed to breathe, inhaling deeply as if the air itself thickened with secrets. Run! Her mother urged, her voice cracking. Now! But the pull of the woman was magnetic, drawing her in like a moth to a flame. Fear mixed with an insatiable curiosity. What other secrets lay buried beneath layers of silence and shame? Her heart pounded like a war drum, urging her to dive deeper. Your real legacy awaits, darling, the woman crooned. You can't deny your heritage. It's a gift as much as a curse. The woman stepped back, and for a brief moment, the room flickered. She caught sight of a reflection in a cracked mirror, herself, standing beside the woman. But the reflection looked different, almost like a twisted version of who she thought she was. Is that what I'm destined to become? She gasped, her voice barely a whisper. Oh, sweet child, the woman sighed, a smirk curling her lips. You've only scratched the surface. Do you truly wish to know how deep the darkness runs? The blood that flows through your veins is more than mere lineage, it's power waiting to be unchained. What power? A surge of rebellion flared within her. She turned to her mother, seeking reassurance, answers, anything to steady the storm swirling inside. Mom, please. What were you hiding? What does she know that I don't? Her mother shook her head, tears streaming down her cheeks. I did what I thought was best. I only wanted to protect you from the truth. The pounding outside grew louder, as if the very walls conspired against them. She pressed her palms against her ears, trying to drown out the clamor. But no matter how hard she tried, the woman's voice cut through like a serrated knife. Listen to your mother, sweet girl, the woman taunted. But there is so much she fails to reveal. So much she'd rather see buried. Your father's shadow looms large, and you are the one who must decide to step into it or let it consume you. With a choked cry, she stepped closer to her mother. What did you do? What did you keep from me? Was my father truly that horrific? Her mother stammered, visibly torn, as if every word was a blade lodged in her throat. He was complicated. Complicated? She spat back, incredulity rising within her. That's all you've got? It's as if the truth is hanging in the air, adrift, taunting me. Just tell me. The woman stood between them, reveling in the turmoil. Every family has its dirty laundry, dear. Yours is just bloodier than most. Enough. Her mother howled, finally stepping between her daughter and the woman. You don't get to twist our story and turn it into a weapon. I want to let you hurt her. In that moment, a powerful jolt surged through the room, creating a rift in the air. The pounding outside crescendoed into a roar, blurring the boundaries of reality. Don't fight me. Join me instead. The woman's voice trembled with a force that harmonized with the chaos outside. Shadows flickered like phantoms, curling at the edges of their vision. She felt the weight of destiny pressing in like a vice, her mother's eyes widened in fear, desperation palpable. If you choose to fight, it could all end badly. You have no idea what you're dealing with. Suddenly, another wave of energy surged through the door, and it flew open with a bone-jarring crash. A flood of darkness poured in, engulfing everything in icy tendrils. Welcome to your truth, the woman intoned, her smile twisting into something grotesque, heart racing. She grasped her mother's hand. We can face it together. But in that very instant, shadows darted forward, separating them. Panic ignited. The world spun, and she felt herself being pulled into the depths, into whatever lay beyond the grasp of her understanding. Mom! She screamed, instinctively reaching out, but the woman's laugh echoed ominously. Would she surrender to the shadows? Or fight to uncover the truth and reclaim her future? As darkness pressed around her, choices hung heavy, and the only thing she could think was, what was the cost of knowing? The darkness felt alive, swirling around her, thick as syrup, suffocating. She gasped, struggling to keep her presence of mind as she was thrust deeper into the void. Gripping the air, she searched for something to hold on to, something to steady her spiraling senses. Suddenly, a flicker of light broke through the oppressive blackness. It pulsed softly, beckoning her like a candle in a tempest. Instinctively, she reached for it, abandoning fear. As she touched the light, a surge of warmth flooded her senses, and memories rushed back, snippets of laughter, whispers of bedtime stories, her mother's embrace. Remember who you are. The warmth seemed to whisper. But almost as quickly as it came, the sensation faded, replaced by icy tendrils lashing at her skin, pulling her deeper still. The shadows twisted around her, forming shapes that almost resembled faces, anguished, twisted, angry. She instinctively shrank back, but they advanced, washing over her like a dark sea. Embrace it. The woman's voice echoed from the depths. You're meant for more than this mundane life. No. She shouted into the void. The word tasted bitter on her tongue. I want to be your pawn. Fighting against the tide, she focused on her heartbeat, the rhythm anchoring her. There was power in defiance. She thought of her mother's eyes, how they glistened with pain but held an unwavering determination. It ignited a fire in her chest, a fierce longing to break free. Let me go. The world expanded and contracted with her declaration, the shadows recoiling from her fury. She pushed through the darkness, clawing her way back toward the light, deeper into the memories that anchored her. Mom, she whimpered, a plea buried beneath the chaos. Suddenly, she was propelled through a vortex of sensation before crashing back into reality, collapsing onto the hardwood floor of her home, gasping. The chaos subsided, but an uneasy stillness replaced it. Light flickered overhead, casting shadows on the walls, mocking her recent brush with terror. Are you okay? Her mother's voice cracked through the thick silence, urgent and tinged with relief. She sat up slowly, fighting the wave of confusion. What just happened? We need to talk, her mother said, tears pooling in her eyes, but they were not tears of fear this time. They were tears of resilience, a fierce love. You were almost lost. I didn't let her take me. She burst out, eyes wide with adrenaline. But she was powerful. I felt it. What do I do now? Run. The woman's voice echoed in her mind, a rhythmic chant meant to steer her down a path of darkness. Join me. Not again. She shook her head, clutching her temples, trying to block out the echoes. What did she mean about my father? What's the truth? There's so much I didn't want to tell you. Her mother's voice trailed off, her hands trembling. But you deserve to know. We can't keep running. We have to face it together. But who was that woman? She felt her heart racing again, fear crawling up her spine. Your family's past is more tangled than I thought. It's safer not to dive into it, but Mom, I need answers. I can't keep living half awake. Okay, but you've got to be ready for anything. Her mother's voice trembled, a serious weight in her gaze. The truth is dangerous. Just then, the room's light flickered again, and a chilling breeze swept through, sending both women shivering. Mom, do you feel that? Yes, her mother whispered. We're not alone. A chill ran down her back as the shadows began to coalesce once more, creeping closer, their whispers growing louder. What's happening? She asked, her voice a fragile thread. What do they want? Your legacy is beckoning. It demands your choice, the shadows hissed in unison, a warped chorus that sent shivers down her spine like ice water. Mom, she breathed, clutching at her mother's hand, refusing to let go. What was waiting for her on the other side of the truth? With uncertainty hanging in the air, a choice loomed ahead, one that would shape her destiny forever. Would she walk bravely into the fray, or would she retreat into the comfort of ignorance? The swirling shadows began to hum a sinister melody. The question hung heavy, echoing in her mind as she prepared for what was to come. What if knowing meant losing everything? The shadows lunged, swirling like a tempest around them, filling the room with an overwhelming sense of despair. She gripped her mother's hand tighter, their unspoken bond the only lifeline in a storm that threatened to pull them apart. We can't let them take you. Her mother cried, eyes wide with determination. I want to go. She shouted back into the swirling chaos. I want the truth. It's time I faced whatever this is. The words blared like a siren, cutting through the cacophony as they echoed back. With a surge of courage, she stepped forward, forcing herself to stand tall against the chaos that roiled in the corners of the room. Show me. She demanded, her voice rolling over the shadows. Show us the truth. The shadows thrashed like a wild beast, then suddenly lulled, as if her fierce declaration had struck a chord deep within the darkness. The silhouettes coalesced into a hazy vision, figures from her past, scenes she thought were long buried. It flashed brightly, illuminating her mother's anguished face, her father's unsteady smile. Remember who we are. Her mother urged, a spark of bravery kindling in her eyes. What does that mean? She cried as waves of fear crashed through her. You have to let it in, her mother whispered urgently. You're strong enough. You can endure this. In that moment, the dark woman stepped forward again, cold and calculating. The truth isn't yours to decide, she hissed, eyes gleaming with malice. You think you're ready? I'll show you your destiny. Time warped, the world tilting on its axis as shadows peeled away like a veil. Flickering images pulsed in front of her, the truth she craved revealed in fragments. She saw flashes of her father, not just as the man she remembered, but as someone enmeshed in powerful secrets and dangerous ties. Her heart raced, emotions crashing over her like waves. This is my legacy? Ensnared in darkness? Yes, the woman purred, savoring her turmoil. Embrace it. No. She gasped, pushing back against the force that threatened to consume her. I refuse to be defined by lies and secrets. Suddenly, the room brightened, a raw energy coursing through her like a tangible current. Enough. Her mother shouted, stepping forward, confronting the dark figure. We will not bow to you. With her mother at her side, a sense of solidarity washed over her. Together, they shouted in unison. Love and strength intertwined in a glorious rush, igniting a light that consumed the shadows. It shimmered like a beacon, burning away the fear, illuminating the darkness that had held them captive for too long. The dark woman screeched, shadows writhing as if in agony. You think this ends here? You can't escape your bloodline. But she was done running, done hiding. No. I'll create my own path. With a radiant burst, they pushed back against the storm. The dark shadows shattered, only to be replaced with undeniable awareness. Clarity filled the space, washing away the doubt that once clouded her mind. The vision of her father lingered in her thoughts, a complex legacy forged not in darkness but in endurance, in the fight against the malevolence that threatened to overtake them now. As silence enveloped the room, a calm settled, leaving only the warm glow of their connection. What now? She asked, breathless yet empowered. Her mother looked at her, tears shimmering in her eyes. Now we face what comes next, together. We can forge a new legacy not defined by what was, but by what we dare to create. With shaking hands, they walked toward the window, peering into the new dawn creeping over the horizon. The world outside was brighter, revealing possibilities that had once felt far away. No longer just echoes of the past or whispers of shadows, but a chance to write their narrative, their truth. Hand in hand, they stepped out of the dim room, ready to confront the world. As sunlight spilled across their faces, they both understood that though the past would always be a part of them, it would never dictate their future. They had chosen to rise above the weight of fear and secrecy. Together, they both murmured, a promise. Echoing in the morning light as they moved toward a new dawn. Now it's your turn. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this thrilling conclusion. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful ending. Let us keep this incredible journey going.